Now, when I first featured Benks, it wasn't that well known, but now it's become a household name, and rightfully so. The question is, how do these cases perform on the 16 series? And I guess there's only one way to find out. Today we're looking at the Armor Air, the dynamic series with those city prints, the Montage ArmorPro and the regular ArmorPro. Then we also have the Lucid Armor and the Lucent Pro. Now let's start off with the Armor Air, the thinnest version of their lineup. The most important question, how is the fit? It's awesome. Best fit to date for this type of case. They really refined this process. The sides are now sort of leaning in, which means you can only install it properly if you begin at the left or right side first. Once installed, you will immediately notice just how snug this fit is. The case now hugs and holds the phone in place. At first I was worried because it looked like it would be too tight, but nothing is further from the truth. Easily installed and easily removed too. Very strong MagSafe, which is always great to see on such a thin case, and it still features that unique Benks camera bump too. Available in a lot of colors such as the Aurora, which is inspired by the Northern Lights. But also the ArmorTint, which looks really premium. The PassionGreen, which looks like a Scottish kilt.
It's not a dress, it's a kilt!
They only have that silver camera bump on that one too. And even the GoldenTide. This one really matches up great with that desert titanium too. Wow! Now there's a cutout for basically every button, which is to be expected on these thin type of cases. But here they made it with ever so slightly sloped edges, which feel very comfortable and not rough at all. Which is what you would expect. The camera control button feels just like going without a case, which is awesome. On each corner, they also have a little bump on the front protection to make it as protective as possible. Now that's a feature you would like to see on such a thin case. Texture feels soft, but is still very much feelable as well. Great choice. Now, the only feedback I could give is that when you're removing this case, you have to use a little bit of strength, of course, and then the front edge can sort of dig into your fingers a little. Not sharp, but pointy. Also notice the fact that on the 16 series, the camera bump is smaller, so not the square used on the 16 Pro Max. Looks better. And it's great to see that they noticed and adjusted the design for the 16 series as well. Moving on to the Lucid Armor, a very soft feeling case which still feels strong. It's not 100% flexible, but you can bend it a little. MagSafe ring is completely flush with the case, and that's on both sides. So it feels really refined. The strength of the magnets is also top notch, really strong. The fit is also great, a snug fit but will not get off if you don't want it to. Very clicky buttons. Which feel premium because they're aluminium, and that camera bump looks great once more too. But then the camera control button, it's the oval cutout here. And so far I haven't been negative about them, but here I just cannot say anything positive. The connecting piece seems to be a soft piece of silicone, but it's pointy alright, and it doesn't flex when you push it in from this side. So it feels like a hard plastic piece, which is pointy while you're holding the case, but also when you're using the camera control button. Then because of the shape of that connecting piece, there's even less room to press a button too, making it hard to defend that combination. It's really uncomfortable, which is such a shame because the rest of the case is really good. It even features that matte finish which doesn't show fingerprints and matches well with the desert titanium. The case is also grippy enough, but I just don't think it's comfortable due to that side piece problem. Same story on the 16 series version too. Now it does feature a smaller camera bump, which is good, but like I said, it suffers from that same problem, which makes the case much more uncomfortable. The ArmorPro, the bigger brother of the Armor Air, looks amazing. It's just so sleek. The texture on the back is completely gone here though, so it's very smooth. There's a very subtle texture on the sides too, which make it grippier and doesn't feel annoying at all. The The first time I actually like a subtle texture on the sides, and it's also present at the bottom, but not noticeable at all. So still very comfortable to hold with your pinky finger. Very clicky aluminium buttons. But the action button is a little harder to press. Equal front protection too, which is minimal, but will still do the job. But then the same camera cutout for the camera control button. And even though it's less pointy due to the softer material here, it's still not comfortable. And it doesn't feature enough room to comfortably use the button as well. You have to have really small fingers if you're able to use this. The fit is very tight, but is easily removed, which is something I always love to see. A double camera bump, one from the case itself and then one which is set inside that one, which looks really advanced and gives you that premium feel. The MagSafe strength is also very strong, more than you would ever need, and you love to see it. Then there's also the ArmorPro Montage, which is pretty much identical except for the camera bump, which is now black, and the buttons, which are now the same material as the sides instead of that aluminium. But they're not as clicky. The back has different styles of aramid fiber on there, which look very unique, but I still hate those yellow letters on there. Just get rid of those for a better aesthetic. I believe before it was saying Benks, but now it says Montage Art, which nobody wants to see on their case anyway. Features that same subtle texture on the sides, the same camera control issue, the same front protection, same fit, and even the same strong MagSafe magnets. So there's not a whole lot I can add here, just a different look as far as this case goes. On the 16 series, the camera bump is that smaller version again, which looks great still. Moving up to the Dynamic series, the New York and the Summit variants. Feels exactly the same as the Lucid Armor as far as the strength of these goes, still bendable but strong. Features a matte-like mirror finish on the inside, which looks cool, but the biggest design feature is of course on the backplate, where the streets shine in light, making these very beautiful. That gold accent color just looks amazing. Aluminium buttons again, seamless transition to the sides from the backplate, and on these I always notice that design on these sides as well, on the empty spaces in between the buttons and the corners. You can also notice those air pockets on the corners now, due to that white matte finish. I must say that finish on the other one looks amazing too. Kind of reminds me of my mouse pad, which has those topographic designs as well. Here the color accent is silver-ish on a mostly white case, which is great. Strong MagSafe, but not as strong as on the other cases. Not sure why, but you don't need the extra strength at all. Works perfectly fine, and I'm still amazed by the price of these cases. At only 17 USD, that's crazy value. It's just a bummer when it comes to the camera control issue, but hopefully more people start noticing this so that Benks may be able to fix it, because it's such a shame on very good cases. And that problem seems to be the case on these last cases for today as well. The Lucent Pros. A very strong feeling clear case with a little more rounding to it than the average model. Features corner pieces on the backplate to let it lay flat on a table. Very strong MagSafe again here. But the buttons aren't clicky at all. And are very hard to press actually, which is really unnecessary. Especially since the rest of their lineup features very clicky buttons which are easy to press. Features a hard plastic camera bump and a minimal front edge as well, just like the ArmorPro. Now I wasn't able to capture this on my camera, but there is a feelable line in between the sides and the backplate, which kind of annoyed me. So where the Dynamic series is seamless, here it's absolutely not. But then again, for $14.99 being their cheapest case, it may be in line of expectation. Although I'd rather pay $3 more and have that seamless. Now for the 16 series, they've gone with a new camera bump style, which also looks really good. I think it looks even better than the small square type of design most have. Sadly though, once again features that same camera control button issue, so it's still uncomfortable here too. Now, what do you think? Is that camera control button a deal breaker or no? Imagine these cases with a button for the camera control. I would put a lot of these in my best case videos, just due to the affordability and design. But I guess we'll have to see how things turn out. Stay tuned for my tier list and top 10 video, and tomorrow there will be another lineup lined up for you.